Hi. So this is my response for servant leadership in physical education and sport, and we're asked to answer these questions. How do you view the concept of servant leadership? And do you believe it is possible as a head coach, physical educator, athletic director, or sports manager to be a servant leader? I'm going to answer those two first. Okay, sorry. I keep yawning. Okay. So I didn't know what servant leadership was when I first saw this video and when I was first reading it. But as I finished it and as I got to understand it a little bit more, I kind of realized that this is kind of like the way I coach, and it's more of that. It's more of like pushing your kids to be successful both athletically and academically, and kind of like understanding that it doesn't take just like one person to win a game. It takes like it takes the whole team. And so Coach Cal basically said, like, as a servant, you realize that leadership is not about like you specifically, or as a coach, not about you as a steward. Um, he doesn't own the kids, and yeah, they're on loan. I like when he said that. They're on loan, and then a shepherd, and that every one of his players is important. And honestly, I feel like if, as a coach, if you're not helping your students or your athletes realize this, then it's kind of like, what are you doing? And everybody, this should be expected because you could see in any type of medium of like being an athletic director, being a professor, and even being a head coach. You should be, these kids come to you. You should be leaving them with like more of what they came with, and I think I keep getting my words mixed up right now, but this should be expected because as an educator, that's your whole point. Your whole point is the whole point of being an educator, or even being like a coach, is like teaching these kids. And if you're not teaching them the servant leadership, then what are we doing here? Because they're not helping them in any other way, from what I think. Because then you get those athletes. I'm talking from like a coaching perspective, but you get those athletes that they don't care, and they'll step all over you. They'll step all over other teammates because that was how the other coach taught them. Their poop don't stink. But that's not servant leadership, obviously. And when you have to go in and like reteach it, it's a struggle. It's harder. And I think there is a lot of disrespectful athletes right now, and especially in the college and high school level, who they don't know better because their coaches treated them that way. And servant leadership should be expected. And I think honestly, it should be taught everywhere, and it'll probably make the world a little bit nicer. Number 3, what are the practical ways this could play out in physical education sport? And what are the benefits and challenges of taking on such a role? So I think the challenge that I could see in this was Coach Cal actually mentioned it with let's see. Coach Cal thinks every one of his players is important. This year's team had 6 players who averaged 25 points or better in high school. In other words, they were all stars. The great gift that Coach Cal has is to give them to subvert their ego and realize that none of us is as smart as all of us. And honestly, teamwork it gets overlooked a lot because that's obviously like for him, he has individual stars, but think about like how great, and he was great, but think about how great you can be if all your stars are working together, and not worrying about your ego and whatnot. And he even was talking about Anthony Davis, or the article was talking about Anthony Davis, and I think the Warriors kind of I get up for a little bit. They were more of like a team. They worked together and whatnot. But obviously, when you think of Warriors, you think of Curry, and then you think of Durant. One or two, Durant or Curry, and then you think of Thompson, and then it kind of drifts off down there. You're like, okay, Zaza. You're gonna remember Zaza because of the name. But the fact of the matter is that you look at these teams and there's only like one person, and yeah, it's a different medium. Yeah, it's pro basketball and whatnot, but this should be something that's like a teamwork and a servant leadership, and understanding that, like, that, yes, that's the top, but understanding that you'll go farther if you work more as a team. And I think I digressed on that a lot. But that's basically it. That's my whole response. I really enjoyed learning about Coach Cal. I mean, I know Kentucky basketball, but I didn't know that was the coach's name. And so that was really impressive. And definitely going to be teaching servant leadership to my kids, or to my athletes. They're not kids. Anyways, can't wait to watch your guys' videos.